In conjunction with the release of Kidnapped, Elizabeth Smart on Netflix on January 21st, 2026, the story of one of the most widely followed child abduction cases in U.S. history is back in the spotlight as viewers around the world revisit Elizabeth Smart's terrifying ordeal and remarkable resilience. The Abduction, A Nightmare Begins. On June 5th, 2002, 14-year-old Elizabeth Ann Smart was abducted from her bedroom in her family's home in Salt Lake City, Utah, at knife point by Brian David Mitchell, a self-described religious preacher. Her 9-year-old sister, Mary Catherine, was in the room and witnessed the frightening scene, later becoming a crucial witness in the investigation. Mitchell and his accomplice and wife, Wanda Barzee, took Elizabeth to remote campgrounds in Utah and California, where she was held captive for 9 months. During that period, she endured repeated sexual assault, extreme psychological abuse, and threats against her life and that of her family. Breakthrough and rescue investigation efforts faced early challenges, but a pivotal breakthrough occurred when Mary Catherine's memory connected the abductor's voice to a man the family had briefly met earlier, later identified as Mitchell. A composite sketch released by police helped generate public tips that eventually led to Smart's discovery. On March 12th, 2003, Elizabeth was found alive in Sandy, Utah, in the company of Mitchell and Barzee. Disguised but recognized by bystanders who saw news coverage, both captors were arrested. Mitchell was found guilty of aggravated kidnapping and related offenses in 2010 and received a life sentence without parole, and Barzee received a 15-year sentence but was released in 2018 under supervision, though she was rearrested in 2025 for violating terms of her parole. A documentary told in her own words, Kidnapped, Elizabeth Smart, now streaming on Netflix, presents a compelling first-person account of Smart's abduction, captivity, and recovery. The documentary blends archival footage, never-before-seen material, and personal interviews with Smart, her family, and law enforcement figures involved in the case. Smart reflects candidly on her experience and the emotional and psychological toll it took, not only on her, but on her entire family. Smart states that her motivation for participating in the project was to give context and meaning to the events that unfolded, allowing her to reclaim ownership of her narrative after decades of public speculation. Life after rescue, advocacy, and healing. After her rescue, Smart became a public figure and advocate for survivors of violence and missing persons. She founded the Elizabeth Smart Foundation, speaks regularly about her journey, and has authored books reflecting on survival, faith, and healing. Now, in her late 30s, Smart lives with her husband and 3 children and uses her visibility to promote empathy, support for victims, and reforms in child safety. Why her story still matters. More than 2 decades after her rescue, Elizabeth Smart's story continues to resonate because it combines elements of genuine terror, extraordinary resilience, and long-term transformation. The documentary not only revisits the factual details of the crime, but also highlights how survivors can find purpose and strength after profound trauma, turning a symbol of victimhood into a voice of empowerment.